when in that moment, that the pressure of that moment, when the flaws become that glaring, that's the kind of thing that should make, and I'm not calling for Mike McCarthy to be fired. I'm calling for an objective assessment of the situation by the Cowboys. That's the kind of thing that should make people take a step back and say, do we have in
I
place
think that's happening.
the coaching staff
right.
that allows us to get to where we want to go?
Yeah.
Or is whether it's just like the same thing was with Jimmy G. Is Jimmy G is it just a matter of when, not if, Jimmy G is going to derail our Super Bowl run? Is a matter of when, not if, our coaching staff, our head coach is going to derail our Super Bowl run? And frankly, Kellen Moore's part of it too. Kellen Moore's there every practice. They're running that quarterback draw.
I was going to say that. Where's his coaching and the mechanics of that? Exactly.
He's part of this.
Right.
He's got responsibility for it as well.
No doubt about it. He's the offensive coordinator. He is part of it. That's right. This is on them. That's on both of them. It's a little bit of a lack of detail of the situation in general. Mike, I agree with you. I think those rumblings are out there in the NFL world, as far as – people don't look at Mike McCarthy as being like he's there for a long time. Things are going great. No. I mean, again, first year was an absolute debacle. Last year, 2020, was an absolute debacle. And then you talk about the things that it takes to be a successful coach, and you go, wait, another year of weird situational coaching and clock management, especially early in the year. We talked about it a lot. The most penalized team in football. That says a lot. Again, that goes down into coaching and coaching those details on a weekly basis. It can't just be, we're going to be aggressive and do whatever we want. We're the Dallas Cowboys. It seems like that's the way they took the field a lot. And then, of course, yesterday where, when you listen to Jerry Jones' post-game press conference, he sounds like he was heartbroken. Like he really expected them to win this football game. That expectations, I think, were probably a little too high. And Mike, I think I do. I think that's probably on the radar. I've heard enough in the NFL world to think that might be on the radar. Now, what I would go, I don't know, Kellen Moore, good coach. I'm not sitting here ready yet to go offensive genius head coach material. Absolutely not. I mean, come on. The Dallas Cowboys offense is the problem of the football team the last 7 weeks of the year. That's the other thing. Now, is their talent their offensive line's overrated? I think we've all seen that now. It's not a special offensive line. They got issues. I know Zach Martin's still awesome. Lyle Collins is pretty good. Tyrone Smith is getting old. And then they got two guys in the middle that are less than. That got dominated yesterday. But I look at the offense in general with Kellen Moore too and just go, there's nothing special. Very few pre-snap moment. I break it on my podcast a little bit. It's always very simple passing concepts, Mike. So I don't know where it goes from Dallas, but they got their hands full with a few subjects here in the next few weeks.
I know what I would do if I was Jerry Jones. I would do something that he came incredibly close to doing a few years ago. And if you buy a copy, I didn't intend to do this, but it just kind of lines up perfectly. If you buy a copy of Playmakers, my book that comes out March 15, there is a story told in there about just how close, and I don't want to spoil it, but just how close Jerry Jones came a few years back to hiring Sean Payton.
Yeah.
And Chris, I know that it's not about JFK, so you're probably not going to read it. But if you were to read Playmakers, you would be stunned at how close the Cowboys came to hiring Sean Payton a few years ago and why it didn't happen.
Ooh.
That's what I'm not going to share. I'm not going to share the why.
All right.
Why it didn't happen will blow your freaking mind. Pre-order now, wherever books.
I might have to read this crap.
Amazon.
I might have to read this Mike Florio crap after all.
Please don't waste your time reading that crap. Also, speaking of that, because I've decided that the Aaron Rodgers quote, and I know it's going to start playing any second now.
Yeah.
I want that when I die on my tombstone. By the time, hopefully by the time I die, since it will be, ideally years from now, there will be the technology to have a weatherproofed LED flat screen, solar powered, with that clip over and over again in perpetuity.
Okay.
And then here it comes. And then for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about,
Waste your time reading reading crap like that.
Boom.
That's on one side of the tombstone.
Yeah.
On the other side,
Right.
and I don't know what I'm privy to say, and I'm not going to give you the money quote. I'm aware, I've caught wind of a review of Playmakers that is coming, I think, later this week. There's a money quote there that will be engraved on the other side of the tombstone. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
So,
this is a good quote? This isn't like read that crap? This is something like positive here review, or?
It is a perfect description of who I am.
Yeah.
Or what I do.
Right.
And what I do and who I am, I'll admit it. I'm not going to act like that this is a put on. I try to be authentic. What I am and who I am and what I do, it's all pretty much the same thing. So anyway.
Yeah. Jerk, snarky comment, copy, paste, snarky comment. That's what you are. I got it. Yeah.
Anyway. Maybe now's the time to go get Sean Payton. And really, if Sean Payton's ever going to say, thanks
now's
for the
time.
memories,
I don't know who my
New Orleans,
quarterback is. Let me get out of here.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
Now's the time to do it.
Right. I remember. I feel like I remember this. With the little Sean Payton Dallas Cowboy thing. I do. Of course, we know there's a relationship there. There's a history there. Yeah. I mean, we've really never seen that in the NFL, at least in my era, other than the John Gruden from the Raiders to the Bucks to work out that trade. First-round picks, some money, a few other things thrown in there. I can't remember.
2 first-round picks.
Yeah.
2 first-round picks, 2 second-round picks, $8 million.
Ooh, man. Listen, again, if you think your team's ready, maybe you make that type of move. But I don't imagine that happening. I still think they're going to stay the course with Mike McCarthy. The year still exceeded expectations, at least for me. I didn't expect them to be at any point during the year. We looked at them at one point in the midway point. We went, wow, the Cowboys might be able to win the Super Bowl. They're that good. And then when the defensive line got healthy, you went, whoa, I think they can win the Super Bowl. But really from about that point on, when the defensive line got healthy, it was weeks before that, right, where Dak Prescott was never the same after he hurt his calf muscle in New England. They never regained that offensive magic and just explosiveness that they had early on in the football year. And that, to me, is where the team didn't line up. The offense kind of carried the defense early on in the year. They kind of stumbled. They gutted through some games. Defense got really good, and the offense fell apart down the stretch. And Dak Prescott certainly did not play like he did before he hurt his ankle last year or before he hurt his calf muscle this year. And I think that's the disappointing, too. That their offense and some of their stars there did not show up in some of the biggest moments.
The reality is Jerry Jones has an increasing sense of urgency with each passing year to try to get back to the Super Bowl and win it. So you never know what he ultimately will do in an effort to make that happen. But it feels like he has built the team. He and Steven and others like Will McClay, who signed a contract extension over the weekend, big part of their personnel department, he's going to stick around. Is the coaching what's letting them down? And all I'm saying is engage in the objective assessment. Take a step back. Set aside your pride and your ego and whatever the buyout would be. And I'm not saying fire Mike McCarthy. All I'm saying is engage in an objective assessment of where your coaching staff is. Because as I said earlier, I'm not so sure Kellen Moore is ready to be given the reins. And if I'm one of these other teams interested in Kellen Moore, I'm very
not sure
concerned
either.
about
Right.
what happened yesterday as well. Because attention to detail can make all the difference and did make all the difference on Sunday.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.